Hey guys, welcome back.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. Oh, what the fuck's going on here?
Testing.
That's going to be very loud.
And you were like, oh, I'd like to ask a question, like, what was your lowest point?
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, okay, actually, that in itself is probably what you're after.
Yeah, for sure.
You have no idea where your water is.
Yeah, I think it's up there. I was like, yeah, we'll keep it. Look at this.
Okay.
So this is a different sort of plug.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's I think because I wanted the shows to be I want the shows to mostly explore mental health and spirituality, but authenticity as well, because I just find that you and I speak about this shit all the time, but like that's the sort of stuff that's led to a more authentic lifestyle.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I just like the idea of exploring that sort of like that journey perspective.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna do something like that if you want.
100%.
Alright. Well, good Shabbos, sir. Good Shabbos. Good Shabbos. Yeah, look, I'm not Jewish, but I know exactly. Yeah. Okay. Happy East. No idea. Oh!
Someone made this up and we stole it.
Yeah. Well, Christowski, welcome to the My Mates podcast, my friend.
Thank you for having me.
And this is our official My Mate HQ in here. We've got the couch set up, we've got the beanbag set up, and we're good to go. Mate, do you want to tell the audience a little bit about who you are and where we met as well?
Yes. Well,
it's a dark and stormy night.
Yes. I'm Chris, not Christos. Call me what you want.
True.
No safe words. It's all good.
Yeah.
So yeah, we met in I think it was the third cubicle along.
Yes, correct.
Public
third
toilets.
cubicle, Wednesday afternoon at 4.
Sunshine.
That's right.
Yeah.
Sunshine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Found the hole.
Yep.
Yeah. Cool.
Works perfectly. Yep. Definitely a joke. Definitely a joke. Moving on.
Anyway, so we met first time in Iceland on an Adventure Fit travel plug.
Correct.
Trip.
Yes.
I've been on Adventure Fit travel trips before, or a trip before. Never met you, but heard you on the podcast.
Yes.
And just kind of, I arrived late, met you on the second day, and just went, cool. Is there anyone else?
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
this guy sucks.
Shit.
Yeah. Well, that was the trip, really. I mean, you left the next day, so
Yeah, it was a great trip.
Yeah, but you're still getting 5 out of 5, man. Don't know what was going on there.
That's polite.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
Growing up British,
And so, what are you up to now? You're a CrossFit coach.
Yeah. So CrossFit coach. That's pretty much it. Actually, I recently came back from Iceland after an amazing experience, which I'd recommend going to. And it lasted about 3 days at work, and just went, which I used to work at a cafe for visa reasons, and just went, nah, this is dumb. I don't like this. It's just not for me. I'm not gaining anything. I'm not able to give anything back, and it's not conducive to a positive mental frame.
So what do you think was what was it about Iceland that kind of led to that realization? That you weren't getting any real value from managing the cafe. Not because it wasn't the cafe itself, but it was just the job.
Yeah. I think it was something that was on my mind anyway. Like I know being in that kind of management leader kind of role doesn't quite fit me.
Yeah.
I think I was talking to you, even joking about stuff about. I prefer more of a Gandalf role than an Aragorn role.
Yeah.
Like I don't need to be the protagonist. It's kind of like if you can help someone else along their journey, that's kind of it. But definitely what I was thinking about beforehand, and the fact that Iceland was the first holiday that I'd taken for about 3 years. It was just good to get away, get away from that framework, and you kind of realise that actually you don't have to be defined by what you do, how much money you make, You know, all the visas had come through, so I was actually free, and yet I was still hanging on to it. And I think a lot of that, people tend to hold on to something longer than it should have been held on to, out of fear.
Yeah, for sure.
Most of anything, probably like fear of they don't know what's coming next, or just that, just the fear of actually having to pull your finger out and actually do something with your life. You know?
Physically and metaphorically.
Yeah. It's
probably something I should do.
Well, wash your hands after.
Keep it in. Yeah.
But yeah, there's that. I think for me it was very much alright. I'm not that age should really be a thing. But I'm turning 30 next year, and I'm pretty much just got a job where I can rock up every day.
Yeah.
Do the bare minimum.
Yeah.
And just kind of go home.
Yeah.
And just realise that, you know, this kind of facade that you put on, you're just like, oh yeah, I'm just chilling out at work, oh it's just been a long day, I'm just tired of your book, pretty much. You're just like, no, I'm fine, and it gets to the point where people external to your life that you think, well not external, but external to your work life, that you think you're keeping up a good facade for,
100%.
are turning around and being like, you're not okay.
Yeah.
Like, why? Like, I'm pretty sure your shift finished, like, I don't know, 4 hours ago.
Yeah.
While you're only just walking through the door now.
Exactly.
Smelling like alcohol.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
It's like, well, maybe I went to a bar and drank.
Yeah, that's right.
4 hours.
Yeah. Oh, you know, it's just a big party, mate.
Yeah, I was totally socialising, and they're like, you don't socialise.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Because I think, just relating it back to the Iceland thing, I mean, we had an amazing trip up there, and like, it was, I think for me, and this is going to sound so cliche, but it really was for all of us, you know, when we looked up at the Northern Lights, you just see something so completely out of the world that we've ever known.
Yeah.
You just, I don't know, we all of us started to put things in perspective within our own lives, you know? And there was a lot of, there was like this general consensus on the trip that I guess I can't really relate to because it was a working trip for me, but like it was a consensus that a lot of the people had sort of booked Iceland on a whim, or booked it like, you know, like, fuck it, I'm just going to do it, you know? What was that experience like for you?
I think for, like, in terms of what, like...
Well, like, what led you just to book it last minute, yeah?
I think it was that moment of just, fuck it. Absolutely, like, I've got my visa, I don't have to... I had a lot of savings, ready to potentially move to a different country, and that didn't have to happen now. So I was just like, well, again, this whole like holding on to things, and you're just like, oh, maybe I should do that, but maybe, I don't know, it's expensive, and you're like, hang on, what am I going to do? And I know that from going to New Zealand like 3 years previously, like I know that these trips are amazing, and I know that they really kickstart something. So I was like, fuck it, like, you've got the money, just book it. Yeah. Like, you're not going to regret it.
No.
Like, out of, if nothing else, then you've got out of Melbourne, you've got out of your job, you know. So for me, that was a pretty good moment. I think it was kind of conducive to, kind of proactively taking steps towards like a more positive mind frame. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So when organising this on your on your website, there's like a little question at your bottom which says, what's the lowest point of your life? Yeah. And I was just like, I went to type it and then I actually ran out of figures. I was like,
too many Batman symbols.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Can't just put eggplant emojis.
Yeah.
Like, I probably need to.
It was symbolic.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I was like, actually, maybe that's that's probably like key thing to chat about today.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And it's one of those interesting things that, and I did it this morning where I went back on my journal and I was reading things prior to Iceland, and I was going through going through a lot of the journal entries and then stuff straight after Iceland, and then I haven't actually put anything in there since this morning for about 2 or 3 months. Yep. And I don't know if you find it, or maybe because you're more in the habit of doing it on a daily basis. Yeah, I haven't been recently, which is terrible. But it was. It's probably more of a bi-weekly thing now, I'd say. Yeah. But I think it's one of those things that if you're going through a change or like a positive change, you kind of don't feel. Well, I don't know you, but I don't feel the need to document it as much. Yeah, for sure. Whereas when I'm in the shit, I'm just like, fuck, I need to get this out of my head so I can sleep, so I can function, so I can whatever. Yeah, 100%. And I was just like, oh fuck. So I was reading some of the past entries, and it was interesting to read like where my headspace was at then compared to coming back from Iceland, and I was just like, that's pretty interesting, and still like makes you think why I booked it and why I was kind of like cool. So in terms of the lowest point in your life, obviously you and I connected really well on the last day with those outrageously American chicks.
Yeah,
like
God, they'll be listening to the show now actually. So Stacey, Kylie, and Jenna. G'day.
Yeah, hi. No,
we hated you.
Oh God, so much so that if someone had written them as a character, they would have been like, nah, no one's actually like that.
Nah.
You got to downplay these.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
you're overacting.
Mean Girls.
Oh,
it's probably a bit over the top.
Oh, right. Yeah, they
were excessive.
They were really excessive.
Yeah, I don't think they like knew where they were.
No,
it's like, you're an Iceland, you know.
Yeah.
But like brief backstory, like we're just having this really, really good chat. Like it was just a quiet, just very sort of peaceful sort of atmosphere. Enter three like. Obnoxious is an understatement, and I don't want to like be a first order shooter.
They weren't rude or anything. But it was just
it was just very obnoxious. It's just like
I had no idea that they were in a shared space. It was nice and quiet. It was
yeah.
Was it early morning or late night?
No, it was mid afternoon to evening sort of time.
The sun was already down 4 hours ago. So
yeah, exactly. It was no time.
Yeah, it was Iceland time.
Yeah. They were. Yeah, well, I mean, they were great.
Well, they were not picking up what people were putting down.
Nah, exactly. Yeah.
So we had a really good chat, which is when you were, kind of said that you wanted me to come on here.
Yeah, man. Yep. Yep.
So in terms of the lowest point, I think, going back, I think the reason that you asked me on was my experience with depression.
Yeah.
So obviously you speak about anxiety a lot with, especially like the last episode you did, talking to your therapist.
Yeah.
About the anxiety. It was really interesting listening to that, because anxiety isn't really something that's affected me, because I feel like, as you guys said, like anxiety is that high anxious emotion.
Yes.
Whereas depression is that sadness.
That low, almost feeling of grief.
Yeah, and it's kind of like it's almost like you're just so down you can't be fearful of anything, because you're just like,
that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can't feel anything.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
And I mean, look, this is something that like I reckon I had it for a month, 5 weeks.
Yeah.
Like I said, it was really not. Depression really wasn't in my experience. So this is why I think it's good, because like they're two separate different things.
And the lines get blurred.
They do.
So you're like, anxiety and depression.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
alcohol and playing badminton on the
weekend.
weekend.
Yeah. And you're like, great. Probably actually.
Same thing.
But and I think in the last episode, you guys were talking about what defines someone who has like a disorder, and is that like if it affects you from doing it every day for like 2 weeks plus.
Yeah.
And I listened to that and I was like, well, I don't know, because I feel like at first I was like patting myself on the back. I was like, I was a highly functioning depressed man.
Yeah.
And I thought, no, I was not, because if that was me functioning at that level, God knows what I'm capable of. Like,
that's right.
Now, and again, it's that kind of like, it's only from reading these entries that I realised just how dysfunctional I was.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And it was interesting, because the question about what was your lowest point, I sat there and was thinking about it for ages. I was like, there was no one point. This wasn't like a sudden, like, someone died and I never got over it.
Yeah.
It was a slow build-up, probably from, probably from, like, pre-10.
Yeah.
Onwards.
Correct.
Like, I got to a school, like a secondary school, and was put into counselling and had no idea what that was. But from then on, it was in and out of like therapy, basically.
Yeah, for sure.
And trying to figure out where this anger was coming from, where the sadness was coming from, where this fear of like identity and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which I think we've spoken about before.
Yeah.
Like that related to you, that fear or that anxiety towards identity.
Yeah, massively. Yeah.
And like it was an interesting one, trying to track all that back and think, was there any defining moment? And like mine is definitely to do with sexuality.
Yeah.
Struggling with coming to terms with my sexuality, coming to terms with what that looked like when nothing looked like that in me.
Yeah.
Like you kind of had, you had great shows when I was growing up. You had great shows like Will and Grace and stuff, and you're like, that's great, but they're still played as very camp, over the top characters.
That's the thing, yeah.
And it was just interestingly enough, actually, I stumbled across an old school friend's YouTube video, and it was said my coming out story. I was just like, fuck, I recognise this guy.
Yeah.
And it turns out that he's like this YouTuber who gets paid a ridiculous amount.
Really?
He's got a shit ton of money. I was like,
Yeah.
I had no idea. But then if I
that's right, Ellen DeGeneres.
Yeah.
That's right.
My mate that I went to school with.
Good actor.
Hey, Ellen.
Yeah.
But then kind of sent him a message the other day and got a response the other day, and it was good to reconnect because I don't really talk to anyone from that school.
Yeah.
So backstory again into that. I've been in and out of the closet effectively my entire life up until, again, I turned 30 next year.
Yes.
And, I'm still at that place where, like, I'm going to have a conversation with them before this gets published.
Yeah.
My housemates, like, I was sat there with one of them the other day and I was just like, just fucking say something.
Yeah.
Whereas when it came to you, or even in this situation, it's really easy just to either correct someone or just be like, this is what.
For sure. Yeah.
But yeah, so when I think I went to this new school when I was about 10 or 11. I think it was 11-ish. And didn't know anyone. Went from being like the cool, loud kid, definitely overcompensating.
Yeah.
With all the girls.
We'll be there.
Banged
them all.
At the age of 10.
That's right. Hey, you were an early bloomer.
Right, well, yeah. That's
and hence why I was expelled.
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
I don't know how to tell you this, Mr. and Mrs. Chris.
Yeah. It's your fault for keeping pornos everywhere.
Yeah, that's right.
But they, so this girl that was kind of in charge of showing me around and looking after me, her and I got on really well.
Yeah.
I remember she was sat on one side, it was maths, one day maybe about 3 weeks into me being in the school. And it was like quiet time, so you're getting on with your own work, and she just kind of turns to me and she's like, can I ask you a question? And don't be offended, which is a really bad way to...
Yeah, classic. I'm already...
Yeah. I'm already on guard.
Yeah.
She's like, you gay? I went, no, because at the age of 11, you drop something you drop your food on the floor and you're like, oh, gay.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Kiwi as well.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gay.
But just to justify that initially, like, if someone at that age had asked me if I was straight, I don't know how I probably would have responded. Like, I would have been like, I don't know, yes, don't know. Yeah. It's just a weird...
12 is weird, that kind of
don't know.
preteen...
Yeah. Don't know what's going on. Yeah.
But yeah, I think it took me about 90 seconds or so to go, oh no, the scientific definition of what she's asking is this.
Yeah.
And then all these things clocked in. It wasn't like a, fuck, oh my god, I am. I was just like, oh no, yeah. So I just...
Yeah, exactly.
I was like, oh, you know that question you just asked me? Yes. I was like, don't say anything because I'm not really... But this is literally me being like, oh yeah, that's why as an 8-year-old, and when I did like circus school, that 18-year-old boy got a lot of my attention.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah. Hello, sir.
Of course, it's a school. It was a boys' school as well. So the next day.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, everyone
just travels.
And it was actually interesting to see a lot of the girls. I kind of hung out more with girls anyway, but all my positive influences growing up have been women more than men.
Yeah.
So like hanging out with women was never really a thing. I don't think that was indicative of it at all.
Definitely.
But it was interesting that a lot of the guys were obviously just like, fuck that. But in every situation, I think that I've always felt the most secure. Like if I look back at it, every time I've had to come out to someone or come out to a group of friends and say I've been in and out. So I've gone through this process so many times. It's just like, fuck this.
Yeah.
It's always been like straight men that have turned around and gone, we got you.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah, for sure. As opposed to like another... So has there ever been, I guess, like a theme of people that haven't got you? Or that be more understanding? Or?
Yeah, and I think this goes towards the just the lack of exposure, which was obviously what I was dealing with anyway, because I was just like, well, I don't know anyone else.
Yeah.
That Graham Norton's on TV, he's hilarious, but he's very mincy.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Like at that stage, I was still very into sports, although secretly downplayed it because it's not cool to be into things.
Yeah.
Like I loved rugby, but I also hated playing it because my stepdad was a coach.
Oh, yeah.
So just because he was a coach, I didn't want to do it. And if anything, like I made sure that I was a little bit embarrassing. And yeah, like my like my main physical background was dance, but that was my brother was pretty into that because when he was younger he was deaf and he couldn't really walk for a very long time, so they put him in dance, gained his balance, and then he's fine now.
Oh really? That's really fucking awesome.
Yeah. And so it was kind of like a natural. I kind of wish that had been gymnastics, if I'm honest.
Yeah, dude, same here. Yeah, I did a little bit, but
but yeah, kind of stopped dance for a bit, went to school, really got into swimming and track and field.
Yeah,
really loved that stuff. And then as soon as that, like I came out effectively, just not being picked for teams, people not really wanting to...
Really?
Yeah, stuff like that, and you just
shit.
And I was never, there was never any kind of like physicality towards it, but there was definitely a hush as you walk through the door into the room, or there's that that kind of silent lack of inclusion.
Yeah.
And I think it was more, I don't really blame anyone for that because, anything that's that new, it was new to me, so...
Yeah, that's right.
I think it was just like, what do we do? How do we treat... How do we do this?
Exactly, yeah. What's the...
And I think it's just that lack of exposure, not only in terms of good exposure, but I think it's also a lot of guys that have a lack of emotional openness and maturity.
Yeah.
And that's still something that we face today, and I think that's something that the Mind Mate is slowly opening up, and people are having these conversations, which is really good.
But I think you and I even I remember you sending me a YouTube video. What was it called? You must know the one I'm thinking of. About the father of the gay kid.
Yeah. So I think it's called homosexuality is less about sex and more about survival or something like that.
Yeah. But the data was essentially saying that emotional intelligence does tend to be higher than that of gay men than it is for straight men anyway. You know? So there's some sort of like scientific reason as well.
Yeah. But I was thinking about this because I was having this conversation with a mate yesterday actually, or maybe the day before, and I was kind of saying like it's interesting. Maybe it's just because, and maybe we'll touch on it if I can remember again. Yes, the LGBTQ plus community can be really like subdivided and a little bit I don't know, torches and pitchforks sometimes.
Yeah.
If you don't belong to a subcategory, or if you don't relate to that, or if you're not seen as in SCENE, like seen, like going out and stuff like that.
Yes.
But at the same time, I know that if I had a really negative experience with my housemates or with like anyone, and I was kind of found myself in strife.
Yeah.
No matter who you are, what subdivision you belong to, whatever, that entire community will rally to make sure that you've got somewhere to stay, you've got someone to talk to, you've got like... So it's I think because it's accessible.
For sure.
Maybe that's why there's this notion of higher emotional IQ within gay men.
Yes.
And this study that the TED Talk you're talking about even says like this study has only been done for gay men.
That's right.
We're now starting to do it with gay women as well, and we're finding a lot of correlation, but he was saying, so unfortunately I will only be talking in the masculine sense. Yeah. And I kind of wonder, and this is where it relates back to the Mind Mate, I was like, well, maybe if the conversation was open and accessible, and I don't mean that everyone suddenly needs to...
For sure.
Get dressed up in drag and cry.
Have
like a, like a Queer Eye for the Straight Guy style transformation.
Which I recently just watched like all of the episodes, by the way. It's fucking sick.
Binge watched and you're just like that, I'm not... gonna cry or
press
next. It's
now you're gonna make mixed stuff.
Yeah, no, I'm the same. Like I think I went away on a week away. Like as soon as I finished work, and I binge watched all those episodes in like in a day actually, and I just went, okay, fuck, that's intense. That's not what I was thinking about. And and I think the thing is that again, not having a good. Or having a lack of positive exposure or role models. I was so desperately liking sports. Like I was so desperately trying to find openly gay sports players.
Of course.
Men or women. I didn't care. I was just like, I need someone to latch onto. Which I think is unfortunate that we place so much importance and priority on someone else having done it first.
Yeah, of course.
Therefore, like, I have to be like that person. I have to be like that person. Yeah. Which is where it all kind of... I was saying, if I track back, I think this is like a slow process as to how it got to a certain level. But
there is an understandable reason for that, though. Like, I mean, like the transition between teenage and adult is tough, and like at that age, all of your peers, no one's done it before, so it's like it's very fair that like we all kind of go, well, I mean, I needed some advice. You know, like, what am I doing?
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
Like, I remember being very scared during puberty and shit when, like, things would happen to my knob, you know? I just remember thinking shit like that. I was, like, very scared, you know? Yeah, but, you know, that's a bit of a tangent.
Just a little bit of peanut butter there.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. Bit of mayo on that sandwich. Sorry. Not literally.
Oh, wow.
Overstepped.
Oh, dear. We'll edit that out.
Yeah, that's right.
Sorry. Keep it in. I don't think you edit anything.
Nah, I don't. I never edit. I just chuck it all in there.
Fuck it.
Yeah, that's right.
Hi, Mum.
Yeah, that's right.
So yeah, I think like as a result, I did start steering away from sports, or at least when it came to things like maybe I want to take swimming to the next level, take running to the side, getting into cross country, like pretty big.
Yeah.
And again, it was just like, but then there's that also that I was constantly thinking of what other people would think. So I'm like, okay, so in a changing room scenario, I'm not here for you guys.
Yeah,
like, I'm not, like even back then, I was like, I'm not attracted to boys. I'm attracted to men.
Yeah.
So,
for sure, exactly. Yeah.
You know,
sorry, pal.
Yeah. No.
Nice beard, loser.
Go through some puberty.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was kind of thinking, they're going to be uncomfortable, and they're going to be uncomfortable with me being on a team where, in sports, and even something like swimming or track, it's not really teamy.
Yeah.
It was still that environment of if you go competing or if you're with if you're doing, like relay stuff, there is a team aspect, and you're just like, well, okay, well maybe I'll just back away from this because I can't, because that's evidently not what we as the gays do.
Yeah.
What we do is like
that's
get
right.
involved in music, we get involved in drama, in the arts, and in dance. And I'd already done dance before. I ended up going to I actually stupidly picked, almost purely based on that fear of sexuality, I guess. I was offered to stay at the school I was at, where I came out and whatever, for the 16 to 18 period. And do like astrophysics.
Oh, no shit.
And I was just like, fuck, this would be amazing.
Yeah.
Or it was go to the same school that my brother had gone to and then my sister had gone to.
Yep.
Ironically now both came.
No shit. There you go.
The force is strong in my family.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, very strong.
And one cousin as well.
Really?
So 3 out of 5 cousins.
Really?
And 3 out of 6 siblings.
Wow.
But my sister is my stepsister, so there's no biological stuff.
Oh, okay, yep.
But my cousin is from the female side as well. So basically my mum and my aunt produced.
Really?
Like,
that's fascinating.
2 guys.
Yeah. There's got to be something. Oh, maybe it's just a coincidence. I don't know, but yeah. That's just interesting.
But yeah, so always go to that school and kind of focus more on the arts.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, that's what we do. So maybe
May
I'll do that.
Yeah.
And I was good at it. Like I'm kind of lucky enough to, if I pick something up, I can start playing it pretty quickly, like music-wise, or if I start learning something to do with physical movement, I pick that up pretty quickly. And so, I went to the school and then ended up joining the dance class late, because I think I did an audition for something, and I was like, oh fuck, this is finally something that I'm better than other people at. Like when I went through that other school, that boarding school, where I was predicted, as soon as I entered, like the teachers were just like, your prediction levels are like D's and E's.
Yeah.
You're not going to pass. But again, going back to a personality type thing, I think we were talking about like introverts and extroverts quite a lot on the trip.
That's right.
I was just like, well, why am I going to waste my time on these mock exams?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
I've learned the flow of them, so now I know how you want me to answer, but I'm not going to, and then ended up doing pretty well, so much so that one of my science teachers demanded that my test got re-marked, because he was like, there's no chance that he would get that. And it was like, what you don't know is...
Fuck you.
Yeah, what you don't know is that... Like, he was my chemistry teacher. I was like, what you don't know is that my physics teacher was staying back after hours and saying, let's go over your chemistry stuff, because you're obviously struggling with it.
Yeah.
Like,
there you go.
You can be intelligent, but you don't necessarily know how to teach. Just like athletes, you could be a really fucking great athlete, but as soon as... Like, I've had to go over a couple of times when coaching a class, and I've heard someone give a cue to someone.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're like, we're talking like, they're top 5 on the RX board or whatever.
Yeah.
Which I would love for Waterfly to get rid of that.
Yeah.
And it's just clicking an ego button, really.
Yeah. On the ego board.
Yeah. Number 1 today.
Kill it!
Yeah.
Something
and they gave a cue, and I had to go over as soon as they walked away, because I didn't want shame this
No.
person or shame that person. This person was fairly new. I had to go over and I was just like, I can understand why they gave you that cue because that works for them. But I just want you to look at, and then just blew them. I was like, okay, so body composition, femur length, where their hips are, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Does that bar position does not work for you?
No, exactly.
So let's find something like your squat should not look like his because you don't look like him.
Yeah, that's right.
So let's find your squat. And spent a few minutes on that and he was like, yeah, okay, that feels so much better.
Yeah, there you go.
Cool, done.
Yeah.
Same thing, like one size does not feel...
Yeah.
So went to started getting into dance. I was like, fuck, I'm good at this. And you know, this is what my people do. So,
yeah.
You know, I really get into... I grew up with musicals playing in the house, like Les Mis, like the classics, Phantom of the Opera.
Yeah,
it's funny because my brothers actually commented how our first introduction to queer culture was my stepdad.
Oh, yeah.
He loved ABBA. He loved Queen.
Yeah.
His favourite musical is Rocky Horror Picture Show.
It's interesting you say queer culture there, though, because, like, I mean, I grew up with all that shit as well. Like, I understand, like, I'm, you know, focusing on, like, a very obvious thing there. But, like, it's just a fascinating one, because, like, this is a bit of a tangent, but, you know, you hear these things like, so there's LGBTQ, and then there's plus, and there's all these different sorts of things. Like, I guess, how many more things need to become defined before we just go, fuck, we're all just super different.
Well, this is the thing that I've said this to my brother as well about when he's holding on to the he's just like, oh, when will like gender normality or gay rights or like, you know, by calling it like gay marriage.
Well, yeah,
we're still subdividing.
You're still segregating.
We're still,
absolutely.
Yeah, we're still so just say marriage.
Yeah, that's
just say equality, or just say, you know.
Yeah.
So I think this whole this queer culture thing is kind of coming about. So I think the cue, and I could be wrong because I'm literally like a baby into this world.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But I think
a lot of the world, because it's only just starting to really sort of take off. And
I think the queer came from or like taking back a word that used to be used pretty negatively.
Okay, cool.
But now it's kind of like it kind of goes along the lines of queer is the bracket to which the others belong in.
Right.
So basically, if you don't define yourself as cisgendered, straight, 100%, then you are queer.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Like I've had friends that are women in a relationship with another woman, and then don't want to use feminine pronouns.
Yeah.
And then they come back to it, and then they go, you know, or they're just like, well, I don't relate to femininity.
Yeah.
And I'll touch on this in a sec about like relating to like other gay men.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't feel feminine, but I you know, I am a woman.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But I don't like to be called a woman.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's just like a process that we need to get our heads around, and for me, it was definitely a thing of being a man doesn't mean you have to be masculine.
Yeah,
and
for
being a woman doesn't mean you have to be feminine. If anything, I think about the people who were strongest in my life and the strongest influences in my life. It's probably 3 women and 1 gay man.
There you go.
That I took all my positive lessons from in life. That I just went, fuck, you've either overcome really, really hard medical issues. You've raised multiple children on your own. You've had to flee the country. You've had to go through the strength of constantly giving out love when you're constantly bashed with hate in return. So it's that. I'm like, that's strength. And what all of those people had was vulnerability.
Yeah, there you go.
And I think that's where that comes from. Strength comes from being able to admit that we're vulnerable.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't think anyone can say that. Anyone that you've spoken to on these so far, or anyone that opens up about this, you're just like, oh yeah, it's a really cowardly thing to do.
Yeah, no, that's right.
Not. Like, it's the complete reverse.
For sure. Yeah.
Like, being vulnerable is an extremely brave and strong thing to do.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we actually don't want to do, is that open up completely.
And I think, I mean, you've hit on so many good points, man. But like, I think, you know, authenticity is in a sense vulnerability, because you, like, if you're not really admitting, but like if you're talking your true self out to there, you're putting everything out there on a page, and then it's like, well, fuck, I've got nothing to hide now, so people are genuinely going to either like or dislike me, you know. So this may be the end of something, and this may be a big change for me or whatever, you know. But I think that I was having a thought about this actually when we were just watching a couple of episodes of Queer Eye, and they were talking about you know, that conversation where you have to finally come out and all this sort of stuff, you know. And it's interesting, like, you know, the current, probably not the political spectrum, but the current world we live in puts such a big emphasis on the coming out conversation, you know. But everyone kind of goes through that in a sense, in some sort of coming out, like, this is the path I want to do, or this is who I am, you know. It's just it's just that, like, the coming out is just being, like, attached to sexuality in this day and age, you know. But also, too, like, you know, it's absolutely a spectrum. How can you 100% call yourself 100% straight, 100%? You don't know what's going to happen in the future. There's tons of people that have found themselves falling in love with the same sex down the line. And, you know,
that's my sister's story.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Married, 2 kids. I don't know what happened, but she's now with a woman.
Yeah. How old's your sister?
Probably mid-30s.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Maybe late 30s. Yeah.
And so she was, well, I mean, you hear this story a lot, but so she was in love with the man, and then she just found someone else and fell in love with them. Yeah. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So it's, again, that spectrum, like, bang on. Like, I truly believe that it is a spectrum because, like, I will turn around to people, like, a conversation, you know, my housemates will be, you know, I'm gay, but it's often the conversation goes somewhere along the lines of I'm on the gay end of the spectrum than the straight. Yeah. Because there's still women that come into my life and I'm just like,
g'day.
Fuck.
Hello.
We make amazing children.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You have to see my eggplant.
Yeah.
It's great. You're going to love it.
I grew it myself.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'll show you the patch.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But yeah, so it's just that, and I think that was a negative thing that I tried to hold on to for so long. It's just like, maybe I can just not do anything to do with the gay side of things, and I could just concentrate on women, and then hope that one day I'll end up, I'll marry a woman and we'll have kids and that'll force me to be straight, and I'd never have to tell anyone, and it will just be this horrible dark secret that I can always push through because I'm a Scorpio and I can push all my feelings down, and you're like,
I'm a man.
Yeah, no you can't.
Yeah, for sure.
But it kind of goes back, it's interesting what I was saying about
just quickly, was that suppressive nature, do you feel, in response to the current world we live in?
I think it was mostly my perception of the current world we live in.
Yeah, cool.
Because if I heard anyone describe anyone else the way that I describe myself in my head, I'm a non-violent person, but I would have ended up in a lot of trouble.
Yeah,
so
right.
You can't talk to someone else like that. You can't. How dare you be anti this, and this?
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
And yet the kind of things I'd say to myself.
Yeah.
It's just, again, I'll touch on that.
For sure.
I'm trying to be chronological with this. I keep skipping.
Yeah. Yeah. I died. And then I was born.
Yes.
Call me Jesus.
This is the Matrix.
Yeah.
So yeah, ended up actually really getting into dance. Actually went to a dance university.
Yeah.
So it was a dance conservatoire.
Yeah.
Good. And the thing that I was saying about not relating, or people, you know, within the community kind of turning around and being like, have you heard of terms like straight acting or
I can understand what it would be.
Yeah. And the thing that rallies me up a little bit about that is the word acting.
Yeah.
Because I would never say, you're gay acting or you're feminine acting. I'm just like, no, you're you.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And the thing that rallies me up the most, and I get it, like there are a lot of, and I think now they're terming the word like masculine and so on things like, and I genuinely have not been on it.
Yeah.
But I know from like YouTube videos and people taking, like comedians taking the piss of Grindr.
Yeah.
Things like Grindr, we've got like mask for mask, so like, I don't want any feminine dudes, like, because men are men.
Oh, true.
And you're like,
really?
Do you wrestle to figure out what position is?
Yeah, that's right,
like, do you just punch each other?
Yeah. I'm just on here for a wrestle session.
Well, fair enough.
Right.
But that's the same.
It's a free half.
That's the same as like you know, when you're surrounded by like straight dudes that you just like stop.
Yeah.
Just like, oh fucking she's alright, I would, and you're like, stop.
Yeah.
Like I feel like you're overcompensating for something.
For sure.
So just calm your farm.
Yeah, for
it's
sure.
Okay to feel things.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I actually ended up going to this dance school because I was like, well, this is what we do. And it's funny, and you said maybe in a post or maybe in one of the last episodes something about acting, like where you put on, I think you said something about anxiety, where you're just like, you don't need a drama degree. You become the best actor.
Yeah, well, you
put on this mask, you put on this act.
That's right. Yeah.
And I thought, okay, well, I did the complete reverse.
Yeah.
I was like, well, I'm not gay enough.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Or there's no one that I know. Like, I need to become more like the Graham Nortons, like the Will and Graces. Like, I need to camp up. So I went to dance school, and everything was like the reason I can do really good impressions of this, like, yes, queen, like you know, is because for effectively like the 2 years that I was at that kind of like mini drama school, and the extra 2 years that I was at 2.5 years that I was at the dance school, that was me. That was the act. And I had to leave because I was like, this is not me.
Yeah, for sure.
So I left and almost instantly went back in the closet. Like someone even like, I got a job and someone was like, just asking, because I need to know what the ratio was around here, like proper like English chef. And he was just like, are you gay?
Yeah.
And I was like, nah.
Straight
away. And in my head I went, you fucker. And then I was like, oh, maybe I can play this, maybe, you know. And then, and it was just from there pretty much up until very recently, being able to say, like, you know, being able to talk to guys or openly, you know, come out to people. And I think the perception really changed when, you know, as we were saying, like, talking about your lowest point. I wouldn't say it was the lowest point, because it wasn't like this happened and now everything's been better since then. It was a slow combination that, again, going to work, doing a job I didn't enjoy, but the hours in hospitality pretty shit. You know, whatever. Worst things happening to better people.
For sure.
But you don't enjoy it, and you're hiding, and you're constantly putting up this mask, and it was going from, like, death has always been a thing on my mind. Not necessarily like fearing death. Like, you know, you were saying like fearing hell.
That's right.
And, you know, death for me has never been something that I feared. It was something that I think during the London bombings when I was like a teenager, I just suddenly went, well, I could have been on that train.
That's right.
And I was just like, and then I spent a lot of time and like discovered Buddhism, but not practicing, but just discovered the teachings of Buddhism.
Exactly.
And stuff. So you're just like, oh, okay, it's good to think about death.
Yeah, for sure.
But that, because of the negative mindset I had for myself, to the point where, as I was saying, what I said to myself in my head is never what I'd ever want to hear anyone say. But I'd walk down the street when I was in the height of like, I'm going to find a girl. It's going to be cool. Don't look gay. Don't sound gay. Don't act gay. It's fine. A guy would walk down the street and he'd maybe make eye contact for like 3 seconds longer than most guys do. And I'd realise that tension went up. I was basically puffing up my chest. And I was like, what the fuck are you looking at for me? I didn't say that, but in my head, I was just like,
I'm on.
Like, how fucking dare you think that I'm not like you?
That's right. Yeah.
You know, and it's just like, Jesus, that's a really horrible place.
It's an interesting one. Like your this is fascinating because like when I feel like when you really start to own who you are as a person, obviously life just becomes so much easier. You know. And it could just be the fact that we live in lovely Melbourne, you know. But when I'd start to say...
It's a bubble.
That's right, yeah. But, you know, I used to say things like, oh, you know, I used to struggle with some pretty serious OCD and, you know, my anxiety used to be terrible and, like, it was really great and just felt so good for me to spill it out, you know, but no one cared. People were just like, oh, cool, man.
It's like clean.
Cool. It's like, well, no, but it's kind of like, well... It's been such a big step for me to just be super honest and you know, have chats with like good mates like yourself and stuff. But like, it's also good to know that, fuck, I'm actually one of 7.5 billion people here and everyone has shit that they're going through as well, you know? So that's been a fascinating one for me. But I love the fact how when you, I guess you kind of went through a transition of, well, I don't want to be this, I don't want to be this, but it started from you actually wanted to find a tribe of your own, you know, because you, I guess, lacked that role model of someone that was a shining light for you, you know. So what happened? Well, actually, so how would you define yourself now? How would you define yourself? Because you said you were gay, but
like sexually.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Well, this is as you said, it's a spectrum. Yeah. So I'd say, technically, I'd argue that the majority of people on this planet exist
in a bisexual.
Yeah,
for sure.
Whether it's
that would make sense.
Thought of something or not.
Yeah.
But it's for people to accept that, or for people to come to terms with that, or even, you know, as soon as you kind of say something along the lines of like, oh, I'm bisexual, people are just like, but you just wait. Come out really.
Come on, pal.
Or you're like, oh, you know, you have a boyfriend one time, you have a girlfriend the next, and you're just like, oh, you're straight now.
Yeah.
So it's just easy for me to say, I'm gay.
Yeah.
Plus, it's good practice for me to keep saying that word.
Just to get onto it.
It's not a scary word.
I'm with you. Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of, and I think this is where this queer word comes from.
Yeah.
You just don't want to be defined.
Yeah, that's right.
Which is ironic because again, within the LGBTQ plus community, there were so many subdivisions.
Yeah, that's
I feel
right.
like a fucking Pokemon sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh, you're water type, but you're also like ice and dark.
Yeah.
And you evolve into a flying, and then I'm just like, can I just be...
That's everything.
Can I just be Squirtle? Like,
Yeah, exactly.
Can I just
Everyone wants to be Squirtle.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah,
sure.
I think an interesting turning around point, going back to death, was that it went from curious about death to actively seeking it.
Interesting.
So I would definitely describe myself as like suicidal.
Yeah.
Or previous suicidal tendencies. And again, this is something I'll talk about. It's just
For sure.
To people in general, because I'm just like, this is and unfortunately it took two events, losing a friend of mine who was younger than me, who was probably about your age actually, if not slightly younger.
Yeah.
Very outwardly happy and gay man, very confident, always made sure that everyone else was happy. The thing that really upset me was that I should have seen those signs, because that's exactly what I've done in the past.
Yeah.
To make sure everyone's happy, because when you've been that sad or you've been that bad, you don't want anyone to ever feel there.
Yes, for sure.
So he was putting all his energy into that. He obviously had his own stuff. And whether it was he didn't feel like he could, or no one picked up on the signs, but just overdosed, and that was it. It was to his testament, like, biggest funeral I've ever been to. Actually, biggest social gathering for something like a wedding or funeral or anything like that I've ever been to.
Yeah,
like, more people rocked up that were touched by him in their life.
Yeah.
So that was probably one thing, and then finding myself at the top of a building, myself.
Yes.
Where you're literally toes over the edge, and you're kind of thinking. And there was a really weird moment where it wasn't like, oh god, I'm going to do this, I need to call someone. It was the calmest thing in the world. I managed to find myself, like, break into the top roof, and it wasn't even like, oh fuck, how am I going to do this? Literally, you're walking up some stairs, and then you kind of figure out how to, like, ironically use a credit card to open up the door to get onto the roof of a tall building.
Yeah.
And then you're just kind of on the edge, and you're kind of just looking out, and you're just kind of hoping that a feeling will come, like any kind of feeling.
Yeah.
And like, I can't feel anything. I mean, that's what it was absolute numbness. And then it would be that absolute, the sadness that would come with that. And there was nothing that would come out of that, and you're just like, I was born broken. Like, I was born with this thing that I don't want, I can't control. If I could give it back, I would. If someone gave me a pill to switch, I would take it. And I was just like, there was this moment of being absolute sad, and then almost like a flat line. And it's weird, because I used to be petrified of heights, and I think the amount of times that I've found myself on high places, and I kind of, maybe looking back, maybe that was me searching for a high enough place too, but not consciously, I don't know. I found myself on the edge, and I was literally like, well, you've got to make a choice. You've got two choices. You either step forward, one step forward, that's it. Or you take thousands of steps forward. You turn around and take thousands of steps forward, but whatever you do, because I'm done with this. It was pretty much someone like me having another conversation with me going, but I'm done with this. Like, whatever it is that you do it with absolute conviction, because I'm out otherwise. Like, I'm done. Like, you really need to walk off, or you just turn around and we'll keep walking forward.
For sure.
And it was that turning around and keep walking forward that just went, shit, alright.
Wow.
Evidently this is what I actually wanted to do.
Yeah.
Again, no suicide note, no phone calls, no nothing.
No.
I think it was literally at the end of a working day.
Yeah. Just very innocuous.
So probably like housemates expected me to be home like in half an hour or whatever.
So what do you feel, so you had that conversation with yourself, do you remember the moment that you stepped back? Like, what, do you remember the turning point? Or maybe the phrase you said to yourself? Or?
Well, I just remember that option being given, like, you got two choices, life or death.
Yeah.
But again, if you pick life, fucking live.
Yeah, that's right.
For once in your life, like, or for once in a very long time, live your life. And I don't know, all I remember is walking downstairs after that. And I don't think it was even like a shaking, like jumping off and like, obviously on the positive side, and crying or anything like that. It was just walking downstairs and I was like, okay, this is what I've chosen.
Yeah.
And it actually took probably, again, why it wasn't like a huge defining moment was because it took me probably another year or so before I then started taking active steps towards Because I started finding myself in the same situation. I'd be walking home, I'd be like, that roof's pretty high, and that one's pretty tall, and I reckon I could probably... And you're like, nah, stop it.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You made a promise to yourself, basically.
Yeah, that's right.
Which ironically is actually what this tattoo across my wrist, it says not today.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, when people say that, I'm just like, oh yeah, sometimes you just have a rough day, and people can be snappy, and people can, especially working in hospital, you come across
you would.
A shitty amount.
People that want their coffee.
Yeah, and you're just like, you know what, I could one day turn into you, but not today.
Yeah,
and that's what I tell everyone. But what I actually mean is, literally, for me to take my own life, I'd have to quite literally cross that out.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, or if it was ever like a wrist thing, I'd see it, and I'm like, okay,
I'm with you now.
So it's probably my most powerful.
Definitely,
that's there.
Yeah, for sure.
And after my friend, and after I stepped off of the roof and decided to live, I just went, do it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And so, what were the initial steps to finding yourself, I guess, or to begin that journey of living again? What do they look like?
I think it all starts with. It's not all even starts. It's all up here.
Yeah.
You can kind of say, I want to look this way, or I won't be happy until I have this many kilos on, or this many kilos off, or whatever. You just like, no, it's all mentality. So a lot of it was, I was very homophobic. I was very effectively genderphobic, I think.
Okay.
As I said, men should be men, and women should be women. And then as soon as you kind of step away from that, you're just like, it doesn't matter if I don't come across masculine or feminine, like, because this is how I want to be. It's not necessarily like I choose to be, like I'm putting on an act. Like I just don't. I don't like loud noises. I don't like big groups of people. I'm not extroverted, so screaming "Yes, honey" to everyone. Like, it's and it's weird, but good exposure. Things like RuPaul's Drag Race. I watched that thinking this is a fucking bunch of weirdos dressed up in wigs.
Yeah, for sure.
With, like, clown makeup on. And by like episode 4 or 5, I was just like, yes, you go. Right. This is so empowering.
Yeah, for sure.
You, like, this is your process.
Reading. Sorry, just to cut you off, man, but I find it interesting that, like, I mean, these are all. I guess I don't want to be like this, or I want to be like this. That's all very much personally defined. Like, what you would have told yourself was, I guess, stereotypically masculine could have been totally different to me, and could have been this and that, and like, I mean, female, a woman's perspective of what's very masculine is very different to what a male would say. A man would go, big muscles, like getting fucking banging tons of chicks, and then like a lot of from a woman's perspective, someone who's very authentic and is very vulnerable and is in touch with himself and is a leader in a non-egotistical way.
For some women.
For some women,
exactly.
I think
of
course. Yes.
I think it was listening to a podcast by not a podcast, a TED talk by Brené Brown.
Yeah,
and she was saying that I think it was maybe her second one, and she'd written a book, and at this point she was only studying women, and so a guy walks up and he gets a book signed, and he's just like, I just want to ask you a question, like, why don't you study men? And she's like, it's just a personal preference. I think men already have a lot going on for them, so I'd like to concentrate. And she's like, well, felt a little bit defensive. She's like, why do you feel the need? Like, why do you think that I should study you? And he was like, well, you see that woman and the 2 little girls that you just signed books for? That's my wife and 2 daughters. All 3 of them would rather watch me die atop my white horse than fall off it.
Really?
Yeah. And that, for her, that was a turnaround moment. She was like, men can be vulnerable.
Yeah. And
her quote, and I've re-quoted it recently on one of your posts.
Yeah.
Which I think it's so fundamental. And I think this is what having an open conversation is in this day. Gay, straight, whatever. Men need to be talking about how they feel.
Yeah.
And again, you don't have to cry about it. You don't have to. But you also don't need to punch a wall. And you don't need to like puff up your chest.
Yeah, that's right.
Whatever. We're emotional creatures. You can turn around and be like, but it's it's in our DNA. And you're like, yeah, but so is intelligence.
Yeah,
so
that's
use
right.
it.
Yeah.
So having emotional intelligence is being able to. You show me a generation of boys that can sit in absolute vulnerability with each other, that can find strength in vulnerability, can find community in sharing.
For sure.
And I will show you a generation of fathers, uncles, brothers that have put in so much fucking work to show that is the norm. If
100%.
we can have that conversation, now, like our generation, if we have kids, if we can have that conversation with them, and it's not like, how do you feel? You know, approach it the same way, but just let them know that, like, man up should be abolished. Get over it should be abolished. Like,
that's right.
It's okay to feel shit.
Yeah, absolutely. You know?
And I think, unfortunately, that does come from women as well, and it comes from, like, gay men are the same. So when I heard that statistic about gay men being having a higher emotional IQ than straight men, I was just like, I'd dispute that. I've met some pretty emotionally stunted gay men, myself being one of them, who was, like, just completely unwilling. And I think, as you said as well about coming out, is that, you know, it's frustrating. One of the things that's really stopped me doing is, like, I'm going to have to have this conversation for the rest of my life. Oh, first world problems, oh no. You just, like, one day we will be at a point where we just tell someone, you just, like, you know, your son or daughter might come up to you and be like, oh, Dad, I'm in love.
That's exactly.
That's what I hope it is. And that for us, in terms of when I was saying, I'll show you generation who've done a lot of work, for us to just go, who are they? Or how do you feel about them? Rather than be like, oh, I bet you go over. But, like, friends to this day will, like a really good friend of mine sent me a quote from Brene Brown after I left work. And he was like, oh, here's a really gay quote for you. But he wasn't saying gay in a way that when I was 11 and I dropped something, I was like, oh, that's so gay, that's so bad. What he meant was it was a really nice quote. It was about, you know, don't ask what you can do for this world. It was basically, ask what you can do to wake yourself up, because what this world needs is people who've woken up.
For sure.
Basically.
Couldn't agree more.
And I took from that, rather than being like, oh, you're fucking misusing that word, that gave me a little bit glimmer of hope, because I'm like, okay, so by associating, like, the word gay to that quote, what you mean is meaningful.
That's right.
And you're associating it with emotion, you're associating it with... So you're not being like, oh, gay, like, so, as we were saying, you drop something or, like...
Exactly,
but it's like someone's actually connecting with you.
That's right. Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, I think it's more the last year, and I've one friend in particular, she's been absolutely fundamental in this. Like, I think she was the first person I actually turned around to, because I always had this rule, I was like, I'll never lie. But I'll just divert.
So exactly.
So I'll just say them. I'm like gender neutral continuously. And people knew about my brother. I was very openly active for, like, gay rights, because I was like, well, my brother's gay.
Yeah, of course.
And so people were like, oh, sorry, didn't mean to, you know. But even then, in the early days, when people were like, oh, you know, oh, that's gay. Oh, sorry, Chris, I didn't mean to. I'm like, because my brother's gay.
Yeah, exactly.
Not because I'm gay.
Not because go home.
But again, like, as I said, promised myself I'd never lie to someone, and I found myself lying to this girl. I don't know why we were talking about, like, I don't know, just someone I was seeing, and she was just like, oh, she's a lucky girl. I was like, yeah, she is. And this girl turned around, she's a lesbian. And I was like, you opened up to me about this. And I just went, actually, come back. I gotta say something. And that was, and I was like, if you don't say it in the next, like, 4 seconds,
exactly,
you're not going to say it.
That's right.
So I ripped the band-aid off, told her, and she was just like, I thought so.
Was it a feeling of, I'm interested as to what was, like, is it something that sparks anxiety when you, like, do you get fearful when you say that?
I'd say the only time I've ever felt, like, anxious would be the very moment before the words come out of your mouth. And a thing for me as well for the last, like, couple of years has been, well, if I say it, it's real. Like, if I keep it here, then I'm sure I can suppress this. I'm sure I can, you know, only find myself attracted to women, or like I'd only tell my friends about interactions with women or women I've come across. And so people probably think I'm just really sexually inactive, or just really, like, not interested. I'm just like,
just don't have a knob.
Percentages are pretty whacked. So, and I also understand, you know, there's a difference between being friends with someone who's gay or lesbian, or you know, anyone who identifies as queer, compared to living with it. You know, like for my housemate's example, I guess there was that fear, not necessarily like I feared their reaction, like I think they would, like, be like, well, fuck that, get out. It was more the fact that I wasn't comfortable enough to take the questions or take the potential, like, the disappointment. And it's not disappointment like, oh, we had such high hopes for you, but if you think or just friends, like close friends in general, where they think like, oh, I thought we were like really good mates for the last like 3 years, and you've been keeping this side of you like silent for such a long time. And it's not a reflection on them, it's a reflection on the fact that I no longer see it as an issue.
That's right.
And I think the process is definitely positive exposure. So what we're going back to, RuPaul's Drag Race, for example, that was interesting. But again, if someone had said to me a year before, you're going to watch this series and you're going to really like it, I'd be like, nah, that's pretty gay.
Yeah.
But then actually having, we're finally getting sports people that are out. Gareth Thomas.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Read his autobiography.
Yeah, I want to read that. That'd be sick.
Yeah, it's really good. And I think it's eerily, in terms of the emotional process that he went through and like kind of, although he went to the suicide attempt process.
Yeah.
Well, I guess mine was attempts.
I definitely wouldn't say it was contemplation.
Yeah. And it was, and then come across that, you've got Gus Kentworthy, who's an Olympic skier.
Okay.
He was actually, I think, made history by him and his partner this Olympics that just went by, having the first aired same-sex kiss.
Oh, no shit.
But he didn't know the cameras were on, so he finished his run. He kind of fucked up. He wasn't happy.
Yeah.
His partner was there. He flew over from America to be with him, and they kissed, and it was on camera, and they aired it in all over the world.
Really? Is it that big of a deal? Fuck.
Well, this is it. It's like the first time, but this is it. Now we're getting to this point, which I really like, where people are just like still wearing their sexuality as armor.
Yeah.
And, like being quite aggressive with it.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm here, I'm queer, get used to it. And
exactly.
people are now just going,
I'm fucking used to it, mate.
It's okay.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I don't mind.
That's right.
And I wonder if maybe some of this, scene stuff where we have to, these are our safe places only. If I'm honest, I don't feel safe.
There you go.
In a lot of like gay bars or like nightclubs. Just because, again, I've been on that end of where you're young and you've got you're basically fresh meat. People aren't used to seeing you because you're not on all these apps.
Yeah, that's right.
So suddenly they're just like, he's new, and I know what like young teenage girls feel like when they're being absolutely Google, because I've been there and I'm just like, you need to get away from me.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I feel so much more comfortable. Like 90% of my mates, I'd say, are straight. I feel so much more comfortable in a small pub environment having a chat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if, this stuff really starts to come to fruition, that understanding of individuality really grows up in the next generation, that teenage girls will go through that same process of that over-dominance of masculinity of like, oh yeah, let's touch her on the ass, let's fucking do this and that. If all this pendulum will stop swinging and just represent the fact that there's just different people, I mean, I even wonder if, there's different forms of there's different straight people, there's different gay people, all this sort of stuff, but I just wonder if there's, like what you touched on before, if so much of this we get used to it will just dumb down to maybe just two blokes kissing where they want to like a male and a female kissing where, if it's just become very much normal. And look, I mean, pendulums have to swing, when things like that, I mean, you can think of so many different aspects in your life, myself included, where you change, you don't think of this way anymore, you think of this, maybe you don't want to play footy anymore, this, and then you do the complete opposite, before things start to go. I mean, when I started to really come to terms with that OCD about hell, I got super atheistic and was frothing on Richard Dawkins and Sam Harrison, like, fucking religion's piece of shit, but since coming out of that and really starting to relax, I've become a hell of a lot more spiritual, and I had a huge chat with my uncle who is a Christian brother, and 98% of what he said I totally agreed with. He just follows the teachings of Jesus Christ, and I follow the teachings of no one really, but there's always just this huge pendulum swing before things become normalised,
100%. And I think it's it does need to happen because voices need to be raised because of any kind of suppression.
For sure, yeah.
But I think we are in that place, and I don't know if it's like when you, you buy a Jeep. I fucking love Jeeps. If anyone wants to buy me a Jeep, happy to take it. Yeah. You buy a Jeep, so you see them everywhere.
Yeah, that's right.
Or you're thinking about like growing your hair long. Everyone's got them. You're like, where the fuck has this come from?
Yeah, that's right.
I thought the man bun was out.
Yeah, I know. It's back in.
It's coming back. But maybe it's because of my mind frame has changed. But I'm seeing a lot more, especially with marriage equality finally in this country. I'm seeing a lot more same-sex couples walking down the street holding hands.
Yeah.
And I'm then not only does it make me smile, and like I think there was like an advert for the new iPhone or whatever, like selfies, and there's like two guys. They're not like making out or anything like that. They're just two guys, and you're just like they could be mates, they could be but like you don't really think about it.
No, you don't. Yeah. I don't think that's you either, man. I think I think objectively there are just more people doing it now because it's just becoming a lot easier in this society. You know, which is great. Like Melbourne, we live in a very good progressive sort of urban environment.
Yeah.
You know? I don't know about the sort of rural areas and things, but yeah, look, it's becoming more obvious, I believe.
But I think that's it as well. Is that okay? We can turn around and be like, oh, Melbourne's a bubble, and then or rural areas, whatever, and you're just like, it's just a lack of conversation.
Yeah, that's right.
It's just the fact that it's what my granddad said, it's what my dad said, I say it.
Yeah.
You know, and you're just like, well, and I remember there was a period when I was at dance school, when I was open and. I wouldn't say honest, because I did still kind of put on a little bit of, especially when I was around the arts, I would put on more of a bit of a swag, and as in not in my walk, but I would, you know, I would try and wear tighter t-shirts or go to gay bars and, you know, whatever. Still had no fucking clue what I was doing.
Yeah. So that was that initial swing of the
thing. Pretty much. But then when, like, coming back home on holidays or something and, like, being with the mates that I grew up with that were, all straight. Yeah. And they were all turning around to me and they're just like, you've actually changed. You're like, I was the token gay.
Yeah, there you go.
The friendship group. And they're like, you've changed our perception.
Yeah.
Because, and they would, you know, things like your normal would come about. And obviously people would really be like, oh, fucking why normal? Alright, they're trying here, mate.
Yeah, that's right.
Just chill.
Yeah.
But what they mean is that I'm not suddenly... I didn't come out and then suddenly change the pitch of my voice.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's the same thing when people then turn around to, you know, gay men that are quite feminine. They're just like, oh, you weren't born like that. And you're like, no, but you watched that process happen.
Yeah.
And they didn't come out and then suddenly change.
No.
They came out because they were recognising that change within themselves and they wanted to finally be able to just explore that. Yeah. And you might, as you said, the pendulum might swing one way. It might come back another. It might finally find a middle ground somewhere between. But their middle ground, my middle ground, your middle ground, they're not going to look the same.
Nah, for sure.
Your squat's not going to look the same from mine. You're, you know, exactly the same thing.
Definitely.
Like they may need to have gone through that huge pendulum swing. Yeah. And we think that they're still pretty extreme, but they're going to be like, oh god, compared to when I was like 16, 17 and I first came out. Holy shit, you're not going to believe some of the stories. Yeah, that's right, and they settle, and it's no longer, I think it's, changing that definition of what gender should be or what sexuality should be. There's just, you know, guys walking around with painted nails, fucking Marilyn Manson's doing it, like makeup
that's
on
right.
everywhere.
Yeah,
like
totally, yep.
You know, was married to Big Don Tees. Like,
exactly.
Dita Von Tees even.
100%.
So it's just like, it's not, that doesn't define.
No, exactly right, and I mean, we don't need the only reason that I would ever think we may need certain definitions for things are when there are legality issues that pop up or like, you know, government things, you know. But I mean, like, I don't really care much about it. Yeah, no. Like I don't know enough about it. I just don't really care, to be honest with you.
Well, it's one of those things that I still like. I laugh at. I laugh at like homophobic remarks. One thing I won't laugh about actually is a lot of trans stuff, because there is still a lot, like LGBT, lesbian, gay, bi and trans tend to get underlooked. Trans is the worst of that. Yeah. So there's still a huge amount of work that needs to be happening for trans men and women. But I think in terms of everything else, in terms of like pay equality, in terms of marriage equality, you know, I kind of sit back and I kind of, like casual racism, I laugh at that stuff. So I'm just like, I'm laughing because I'm just waiting for the people that still think this is okay to say to die. Yeah. It's basically, I'm waiting for you guys to die out. Yeah. And then the rest of us will just be like, okay, sweet. Like, why aren't we paying you the same? Why are we segregating bathrooms? Why aren't we letting you get married to you? Like, this is silly. Like, if you literally can change a law by writing something, but you've chosen to go through a big, ugly process.
Yeah, I think like, I mean, the majority of people that I, you know, have the privilege of speaking to just kind of go through the thing of like, do what you want, just don't, you know, no one should force anything on anyone, you know, and that's fundamentally how we can all get along, you know, as long as we all have freedom for anything, you know. Chris, so finally, mate, we went through your darkest moment. I really appreciate you sharing that whole story, mate. It was fantastic, and it was I mean, you know, we first had this conversation in Iceland, so the atmosphere was slightly nicer.
Yeah.
But it's a great conversation, man. It's I think we both learn a lot every time you and I chat. Just why we're such great mates, you know. So that's good. Yeah. But the final question is, if any, what are some of your spiritual beliefs? You know, what how do you explore spirituality, introspection? Where do you think we go when we die? Anything you want to? Yeah.
I think like religion seems to be one of those ones that I will take a back step and just be like, I'm not touching that. Like that's red up.
Yeah.
I'm not. You know, when you group chat and someone says something and you're like,
eggplant.
Yeah.
Chris left the group.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
No, like my mum's. So my mum's Portuguese, so that's Catholic country.
Yeah. I didn't know that.
My grandparents on my stepdad's side of the family are religious practicing.
Yeah.
So my mum doesn't really practice.
Mm-hmm.
So in terms of like, and the school I went to was Christian school, but there was a lot of different religions there.
Mm-hmm.
And during our religious education, we were taught about Islam, Buddhism,
That's
Hinduism, which I think was great.
That's
and
right.
I remember when I was maybe like 13 or 14, and Buddhism came up. I just went, this makes sense.
Yeah, for sure.
I'd never
Same
describe
with me.
myself as a Buddhist. I'm not gonna, like, I feel like, again, being someone who fucking hates labels and definitions, I'm just like, it just, like, sometimes you can read some stuff about Buddhism and I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. And sometimes I read stuff about it and go, now this just seems more like a religion again.
Yeah.
You know, in terms of, I don't know, maybe this kind of energy transfer thing. I think there's definitely something there that we can't measure yet. So therefore people be like, oh, that's pretty wishy-washy, it's pretty woo-woo.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think there's, in terms of the idea of like reincarnation and all that lot, there's as far as I'm aware, there's a finite amount of energy that is currently in this universe, in the known universe.
Yeah.
And so it would make sense for me that would be recycled.
Yeah, I agree with that.
In terms of the energy that it requires for me to stay alive. You know, once I'm done, that's energy that's been transferred into other things. It's a process of you know, energy transfer and whatever, but whether that combination of energy then forms into something else, or someone else, or life, like life energy is different, so maybe life energy has to be negated for more life energy. And
yes.
I remember thinking as a kid, like, oh, if one person has to die for another person to live, that doesn't make any sense because population is growing. And I'm thinking, well, there are more people, less animals, more people, less plants. They're living things and they're negating for us to survive. And, you know, so it's not something that I follow religiously at all, pardon the pun.
Yeah. Very good.
But yeah, it's just, I think thinking about death and that, especially from a young age, the concept of trying to think about nothing, like you think of nothingness, and that's what I truly believe happens when you die, is there's nothing.
Yeah, that's right.
Because there's nothing, there's no conscious state you could possibly be in to process that, or, you know. So I didn't think like, oh, I'm going to be good now so that I get rewarded in heaven. You're just like, no, it's just like a dog not shitting on the carpet so it gets a treat later. If you want to shit on the carpet, that still makes you a shitty human being.
That's right.
You know, like, that shouldn't be your motive. Like, I'll burn in hell if I'm a bad person.
Yeah.
Or it actually feels, energetically, it feels fucking good when I do something good for someone.
100%. Yeah. And it's like even thinking, you know, for people that think you go through this sort of judgment phase to go to a place after, they have nothing to live for and everything to die for, which completely wastes time living. Yeah. You know? Like, it's just pointless to live.
Yeah, it does definitely feel like a waste of time.
People that I guess don't believe in that judgment perspective or that atheistic or whatever it is, but have everything to live for and nothing to die for, you know? Which makes life great. Yeah. You take chances, you say yes to opportunities, you take risks, you know?
I think it's the, I think it was a quote by Maggie Smith in a show that I think I ever watched. But I like to quote it. But it talks about religion, and I like to interchange the word religion and opinion. But I think she says having a religion is just like having a penis. I think I've commented on this before. Like, it's all very well to have one and to be proud of it. But if you get it out and shove it in my face, we're gonna have an issue. Same thing. Whether you're religious or not, whatever opinion, whatever side of the fence you sit on. I don't care. Just don't hurt anyone.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't think that you're more superior for having one. Again, like the penis analogy, don't think you're more superior for having one.
Exactly,
Just because someone else doesn't.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I totally agree, yeah. Chris, my friend.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on the show. And, is there anything you want to plug? Anything you want to plug? We'll call it there.
Mind mate's great. Oh, no.
And that's a wrap.
Done.
Oh, sweet, man. That was awesome. How long did that go for?
Like an hour.
An hour and a half.